It's time to talk Star Wars again. Here we are at the end of another
Do we have to?
series. Yes, indeed. It's Skeleton Crew. Of course, this is the ScreenBlast podcast, and we're talking the latest Star Wars series that came out, Skeleton Crew. I watched all 8 episodes. Mark, you watched a couple of them.
1.5.
Let's get some stuff out.
Like half of episode 2, and then like you came through the door, and I was like, "Let's start doing podcasts." And I turned it off.
Yeah. Let's get this out of the way. Look, like I said this going in. Look, this is not a series that's directed at us, but it's aiming to get that nostalgia back because obviously you've got these kids in a stylized form that is reminiscent of the early Star Wars era. I think that where this show shines to me, after watching all 8 episodes, I think that it's what I've always wanted Disney to do with Star Wars, which is, if you're going to use Disney Channel, use it with your IP in a way that's valuable. Make a story that actually goes on an adventure like this, and whether we liked it or not, like, at least put the effort into it, show that there's budget backing behind it, and it doesn't look cheap. It looks like a good adventure. It puts kids in the front seat and center. And it doesn't look like a Duplo project like Rebels did for a while. I like this age range that they're aiming at. This is what I've, again, wanted them to go after for a Star Wars series. And I think, again, for the younger audience, I think they will enjoy this still. But I think in the grand scheme, like, this show, not aimed at me at all, it slows down a lot in episode 3, 4, and 5. But I think where it starts, I was extremely hooked. We can start with episode.
Well, I just want to say real quick, like, it doesn't matter what this series was. I just, like, no matter what Star Wars thing comes out, it's just like, oh, it's Star Wars again. Because, like, it's just like I feel like we get too much Star Wars. And, like, and especially, like, it probably wouldn't be that much of a bad thing. Because, at a time we got, like, a lot of Marvel. But, like, that wasn't a bad thing because a lot of it was A+ material. And Star Wars, I mean, well, now it's bad. It's, like, has the same problem. It's, like, now Marvel has the same problem as Star Wars. I'm about to mention is, like, a lot of Star Wars stuff just, like, hasn't been hitting.
But it's oversaturated and it's not hitting.
Yeah. It was oversaturated and it was still hitting. I mean, there's an argument to be made there. I think it would, still be... That would just prove it would be a great franchise. But, like, it's just, like, a lot of it is just, like, not hitting. And, like, for the hit and miss ratio, it's, like, higher on the miss scale.
Yes. Before we get into the grander portion of Star Wars, I do want to talk about, because you saw episode 1, what I thought about episode 1 and our sort of home setting, which is at Aden. This is it. I didn't know where it was going because I didn't know much about this show, but my perception of the setting, I thought, I genuinely, like, wished if Disney actually had common sense and was looking at ways to start before going straight into the sequel projects, this setting might be the best setting for a Disney World theme location. Like, not the Outer Rim shit, not the irrelevant area, because this is still, it's grounded enough for you to understand, yes, it's a neighborhood with stuff, but there's enough Star Wars-ish fantasy stuff going on that if you had a bunch of extras that were walking around in the way that this show was, I thought what I found in the first episode as we start was the Star Wars craftsmanship that I was expecting from dozens of shows that have missed it. I appreciate that it feels like, at least when you're getting into it, that there's a lot of investment and care. You get new and unfamiliar spacecraft, you get a wider swath of aliens, you get, like, practical effects and, different creatures than you have seen sort of entering all at the same time. And the first episode and throughout this series actually cares about introducing a fantasy element to the screen. Like, it actually cares about, like, that Star Wars tone of, look at all these aliens, look at this setting, look at these ships. And at Aten, I think, is a cool concept if you were to do a Star Wars land. But again, they're doing this all later on, and Disney wanted to do their format of an Outer Rim, not relevant area.
Oh yeah, so you're talking about, like, theme park stuff. Okay, so, like, the problem with, like, current Disney in general, Bob Iger's plan is, like, with all these attractions based off IPs, they have to take place in canon and after, like, whatever piece like they're making.
Yeah.
So the reason why we have Galaxy's Edge and it can only like have things that take place after the sequel trilogy, or I mean between the sequel trilogy or whatever, is because they want it to be canon within everything, which it's still now it's outdated because the sequel trilogy is over and those take place between the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, so you bet that's the thing is when I think about what the outer Galaxy's Edge and the outer rim, that outer rim area is, it's like now it's more relevant than ever because the only thing that's really focusing your attention is the idea of here's R2-D2, here's C-3PO, but like I actually liked, again, like going back to Skeleton Crew, I love this idea of starting us off with these ground level characters and you're in this world that is similar but not identical. It's Luke on the farm. It's Luke just sitting there wishing to do something, and this felt very much like we're going back to basics here. We're gonna get you to understand that at least for the first half of the first episode, and then it becomes it just kind of by the episode 2 it kind of falls into this different format. But like I liked what it was doing at the start. And whether or not it did what I thought it was going to do, I actually did like where it was kicking us off because I like this. I thought that these characters, notably the 2 characters, I didn't really need the brash, tomboy, aggressive character, but you got to have that, I guess. But I thought that the 2 characters, whether or not they didn't play as much of a point in later episodes, would be great characters. Like I would love to see those characters in a Star Wars realm. If you walked over, if you were in a Galaxy's Edge and they had just happened to be on their adventure and you saw like, okay, like if I were a kid and they were like these 2 kids were like, it's like, or someone acting like those 2 kids having the, dressed up like them, and they were running around, like running across, like excuse me, got to do a mission, like they're not actually interacting with you, but you see them, it's like, oh, I remember that, and it was like, oh, this is real, oh, this is cool, like these are perfect characters for that situation, and
yeah, now that you mention it, I would like, I wouldn't mind like a Star Wars like school, like because we don't have any suburban school dramas in Star Wars.
Yeah, and this
is the only time you get like kind of a suburban setting in Star Wars as far as I can remember.
Yes, and I think it fits. It gives us like, so what I thought originally like this show was going to be was like, not originally, but in the first episode we get this ground level aspect to Star Wars, and I thought, oh, this is great. We finally, because like for so many shows, it seems like the original trilogy doesn't matter. Everything that Luke, Han, and Leia suffered through doesn't matter, and it all turns to the First Order anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I thought, oh, this is going to be a show about characters that are living in a planet that, like, we finally see the ground level of what is great about what they did. Like, their sacrifice was not in vain. Here's a group of, here's a civilization that,
Where does this take place?
At Aden. This is a...
No, sorry, time period.
This is after episode. This is, again, like we said, like everything, like Mando, like everything. It's between the original and the new trilogy.
Ah.
Just like Ahsoka did. Not Obi-Wan didn't, but like a lot of shows where Boba Fett and everything.
We're not allowed to continue unless we're Legos.
Yeah. So unless we're Legos, but like I really, again, I want to give props to the ideas because I think there's so much there. You have those scooters there don't look stupid. In Boba Fett, it's like, what the fuck are these? These scooters in this show, it's like, oh, they actually look cool. Yeah. They fit this planet. The whole setting feels like a great place to.
It's so big. It's getting louder. You got. Yeah, open it.
It's not too bad. No, it's not.
You can yell at it.
No, wait. Watch.
Just yell out there. Tell them to turn it down.
It's fine. I can do it. It'll drown out the volume. But...
Nah, just yell at them. Come on. Just open the door. I'll yell at them.
Oh, my God.
Hey, turn it down. It's picking up on the mic.
It doesn't.
Oh, I just turned it down just a little bit. It's picking up on the mic. Thank you. There we go. If I can hear from here, maybe I think the mic can do so.
It can. Because I do noise removal.
Hey, less work for us. All right.
Whatever.
I'm just future proofing.
Fair. But yeah, like, just point being, last point about this again, I just thought this is a great place that because again, everything about it is well planned out. You've got a core object. You have that spire in the middle of the town. It's not massive. You've got a school setting that, kids could relate to, hypothetically. That may not be an actual school setting in the Disney park, but it could be a ride that's actually in there. All of it has its own area that could be could relate in presence to an actual park. But again, this is all, we've said millions of times that there are better spaces that Disney could have utilized. This is just another space where, like, here's a great location that is after the fact not utilized. And again, like, so getting back to the actual rest of the show, like, again, I like that this is not, like I said, baby's first Star Wars. This is not Rebels, where it's like, it comes across as soft, but in reality it is actually harder. It's like, no, you get these misadventures, and it's very much based, like, within this pirate style format, and you go on this, swashbuckling adventure, basically. I think the journey was fun, but I think that there's a lot of filler that doesn't need to be there. Like, we learn about another planet that's identical to Adden that has a bunch of kids on it also that are living like Lord of the Flies or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's its own standalone episode. Doesn't really matter in the end. You move on. There's some other stuff that's interesting. Like, there's a planet that they travel to that has relations with the rebellion, but the person that they're traveling with doesn't want to be seen by the rebellion, so you get this interesting puppet character, and you also get X-Wings that are potentially going to find them. There is a moment, though, where it's like the kids do, like, shoot down an X-Wing, so it's kind of like, they did kind of, I think they shot down, they killed someone, but, like, there was that moment in an episode. But
yeah, they're kids. Kids do murder without realizing.
Yeah. Again, like, I like the fact that, again, this is an unfamiliar spacecraft. There's so much about this show where it's like, I appreciate that they took the extra mile. Again, the new spacecraft that they're traveling in is awesome, and I wish that, again, like, we go back to this with the new trilogy. Like, you went back to the fucking Millennium Falcon. We could have, this new trilogy could have been brand new stuff, references to the past, but you didn't have to lean so much into it. And instead, it's like, we gotta play the old game. We gotta go back to the stuff that we've seen a million times. And it leaves you lacking fascination, whereas the prequels at least gave us new content. And that kind of felt like the magic of Star Wars. And this does a really good job of carrying that magic of Star Wars. The villains are, like, there's a lot of, again, aliens that are villains in this show that are, like, very well thought out, and not, they're Saturday morning cartoon villains, but, like, they're well thought out in terms of design, and I like that. But again, like, you get to episode 5, 6, 7, 8, like, I think by episode...
How many episodes are there total?
There are 8. I think by 6, 7, 8, it's like, all right, now we're getting back on track. They find a way to get back home, because the goal after about episode 2 is they launch the ship and they need to get back home. By the time you get to episode 6 through 8, you're actually going back on that point. Like, now they're finally doing that. And that's where it's like, okay, finally we're back on track. And I like where we're going now. Like, we're actually getting a resolution to this stuff. Like, because you needed them to have an adventure, and that's great. They got their adventure. Now it's let's get them back.
Okay, so this is different from, like, how you were telling me earlier, because you said, like, episode 1 and 2 are good, and then I can just, like, skip the rest and just go.
You can skip 3 through 5. I'm sorry. That was back when I'd said that when episode 5 was new, when we had last recorded, and then I came in here, and I think I said that again, but inadvertently I meant, look, there are a couple episodes, like, if you watched episode 1 and 2, and then you moved back to 7, 8, it's like, you're not really losing a lot, you're not really losing much of anything, but if you want to see the adventure, you can. And I think, realistically, like, the whole point of, they go up, and then they come back, and you kind of fill in the gaps there. There's, like, again, a lot of the filler is that these young kids need to just have character moments, and the character moments take a while. If they take a whole episode, so you're like, oh, a character feels like this. Let's find a way to make sure that character gets that solution, and then that whole episode is around that, right?
Yeah. So far, because I love the aesthetics. I love the presentation.
That's the winning. That's what wins right here.
Yeah, everything in terms of looks is great. I love the setup in episode 1 with both the male and female characters. But when we get to them getting on the adventure, it kind of loses me a bit because I'm not a fan of the character dynamics.
No.
I know this is a show and I haven't gotten that deep into it, but so far initially, it's the male characters are just kind of useless, and it kind of they're not really doing anything to advance, and also they're kind of little bitches. But and the female characters are the ones kind of getting
that lead. Yes,
they're leading and they're kind of getting it done, and there's no dynamic of them helping each other or kind of bouncing off of each other. It seems like the female characters are kind of just doing all the work, and it's if this is how it is, I'd rather just not have the male characters there, or rather just watch the female characters just go on the adventure, because they're the ones actually doing stuff.
I agree, because look, it doesn't really get necessarily better. There are episodes where they get split up, and you have one male character with a female character, another male character with the elephant character with the other female character, and it's fine. But I agree. The moment that I got used to it, but the moment that they're forced together, and the two actually know what they want to do, and it's both the girls lead. And that's Star Wars now, right? It's mostly Star Wars now. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Outside of Andor, that's how it goes. But, and that's kind of where that's what the story is. Because, they don't get to do, they don't really get to do much. Episode 8 is a good finale where they're all doing something, but, they don't get to do much throughout this.
Just to make sure, the folks understand, but, it's not the fact that they're male or female. If it's more about the characters themselves.
Don't make these characters exist. Don't make these other two characters exist. If you're going to have them look like they're pointless.
I would still have the same complaint if the genders were reversed. But it's just that these characters feel useless and
because you still need. I agree. Once the ship takes off, you need characters that want to push forward. And the only character that really wants to push forward is the main female girl. Is the main female that is brash and aggressive. She is the only one that is really going forward on things, and everyone else kind of isn't, unless the kid that wants to be a Jedi kind of has these perspectives of wanting to do that. But there's again, I love the moment where it's just a down to earth you're getting down to earth character story, but then it becomes all right. Well, no. And again, it's fine, but I there's moments where, because they are added in, and you again the girl characters, it's you've got the aggressive girl character. It's okay, there are so many moments in this show where you get the typical. It becomes you add drama into it. You add drama, and you add this the fantasy part. This is where it becomes fantasy, right? Where it's oh yeah, a girl could stand up to a grown man, and this grown man that really wants to do certain things. I'm not saying do things anything evil wise, but I'm saying who has the advantage clearly. You would say, you wouldn't just sit there and you wouldn't just sit there and say, oh yeah, you wouldn't just say, I'm not going to do anything, even though all the cards are against you, and it becomes a Saturday morning cartoon where I'm trying to explain it well, but
I know I like dynamics where everyone is useful. It's just it's the dynamic so far. It's only these two characters are useful, and the other two characters just sort of there.
Yes,
and it's usually the dynamics if you have a character that's not that useful in terms of physically, or even in terms of brains, they're usually good emotional support.
Yes.
Or they will spawn into doing things that that really does help focus the plot, so it does balance of like how useful each character is.
I agree.
A good show that does that is DuckTales. Whenever it focuses on the kid characters, like everyone, they make sure every character is useful in that.
Yeah, I think the show wants you to think that it's this kid that dreams about being a Jedi. It's his story. It's more the girl's story. Because even you have the girl on the left of the image there, and she actually is sort of like a cyborg. She's like a cyborg. Like she works to be friendly with the girl. So she has a moment in an episode, and it takes a whole episode to fix her, and she really wants to be more. She wants to impress on the main girl again. Like it's all just like it's leaning more toward being her story. But we start with these two dudes. We start with these two guys.
That's a questioning thing.
But it leans as being her story, and so you kind of feel that. And then there's also the element of the fact that you have this guy who is like he's a pirate, but he also has these powers that are much like a Jedi.
I haven't gotten to him yet. Does he have telekinetic force shit?
So we learn in a villain monologue at the end of episode 8, that's where we learn that he was given brief training by a Jedi in the past. We don't know which one, but we think it's probably Ahsoka. If they're telling it right, but it sounds like it's Ahsoka from everything, because he says she. But then again, it's early, so it says, I think it's like, but I can't, it's hard to fucking track. So, because it never really...
It's probably one of those things they'll write backwards on.
They'll write backwards,
We'll tell... Well, we don't even know yet, but we'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll make a character up, maybe we'll use an old character.
But, like, he's a very interesting character, but then he turns... Because he wants to get what he wants out of this. And, it's understandable that he wants to get what he wants out of this. But at the same time, you've got the characters that are all going on this adventure, all the kids. And again, like, it doesn't know how to balance them out well. But it was a solid adventure. I don't want to downplay that. It was a fine adventure that doesn't know who's the main character, really. And it doesn't really balance them out well. And again, the dudes in the group, outside of this guy, kind of get the short end of the stick. Like most of the time, the elephant character's going, "Oh no, oh boy, danger, oh darn," like that's kind of it. But he's an adorable looking character, but they don't really. He doesn't do much. He's there visually to be an alien, basically. It's Star Wars.
My biggest complaint is like I enjoyed their drama going through school and like being in the suburbs. I like that. I like the story setup in the beginning of that episode.
Exactly.
And then it's just like they're just kind of there when the adventure starts, and it's like it's just the female characters that just kind of like that just kind of take over.
Yep. You lose a very interesting potential thread. I was like, it was just so down to earth, and it was like so like cool. Actually, it was like, oh yeah, I remember this point in my life. Oh yeah, this was fun.
It was like they're relatable up until that point, and then when the adventure starts, it's like they become less relatable.
Yep.
Because I'm not trying to bring myself up, but like if I went on an adventure, I wouldn't be that much of a bitch.
Well, I don't know. They're kid. Like, look, like I don't know.
Oh yeah, they're kids. I forgot.
They're kids, right? Like
you're right. They're kids.
But we see by episode 1 that she's off on her own doing her own thing. So I think they set it up well. They sell the chess pieces up well. Well, both of the male characters are more sheltered, and the two, at least our main female character, is not sheltered at all, and she's out there. So we get all of that. We get literally all those puzzle pieces into place.
I remember I was a short-tempered little boy. If a girl tried to yell at me and be like, "Fuck you!"
Right. I think I bluntly put, I agree, because the minute that because of course they find the ship, and then the minute that they are trying to burrow it out and all that stuff is like, and then the girls show up, it's like, like, why do you have to fucking be here? God damn it. Like, it did, for me, I was like, that sucks. Because, I really was more curious to see what would happen with the duo instead of the the fourth group there. But
I was honestly curious about their like suburban stories, both of them. Like I was wanted to see where that scooter race was going, and I wanted to see like where the two boys' school life was going. And it's like, I mean, I guess we're like, we have to get into Star Wars space adventure shit. It was like I wanted to see more of their suburban life.
They missed the forest from the trees. They looked at the wide swath of Star Wars instead of like trying to focus on a down to earth thing, and in doing so, they missed out on this. Now, I think this is a good balance because so many of us were saying we're tired of the Obi-Wan thing. We're not Obi-Wan, but I'm trying to think like everyone by the time we got to Obi-Wan, everyone was like, we're tired of the same Tatooine setting. You're on the ground. You need to do some space stuff, and this does that. And so it's a weird like back and forth, but like it's a thing of like, well, this would have been better, I think, or it just would have been in my favor personally.
I mean, Mandalorian season 1 and 2 were doing that.
They were doing that, yeah. But yeah, Skeleton Crew though, just wanted to get this out of the way before things start happening. February gets around here, and then we get a lot.
The show kept getting a lot of comparisons people got out, but there's a movie I haven't watched. It like the Goonies. I haven't watched the Goonies, but like a lot of people were saying this like Star Wars Goonies.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either.
I'm not a Goonies fan. Sorry, people, I'm not a Gooner.
Yeah.
Are you a Gooner?
I'm not. I can't believe that they put. I just realized that. Jesus Christ, the Gooner is a thing now, and
yeah,
Goonies is a. Oh God.
That was a joke.
I know, but it's like it's a terrible. Like I can't believe that now it's a trending thing that. Gooners are people that do that, but Goonies is a movie.
There was a Twitter post like spread the Goonies is a forgotten IP. Spread spread awareness by being a Gooner. Hashtag I'm a Gooner.
hashtag it's me. Yeah. It's me. I'm the guy. But yeah, it's not whether I'm interested or not, but Andor comes out, and the Andor will come out in a couple of months. I'm very excited about that.
Andor 2.
Yep, Andor season 2.
Okay, yeah, so I'm probably gonna skip this one and just watch Andor 1.
Yeah, just watch season 1. Finish Andor. You gotta watch Andor and
finish. I haven't started. I haven't even gotten started.
And I'm not really interested in anything else Star Wars that's coming out in the next year. So.
Except for the one Aardman short in Star Wars Vision season 2, you should watch that. That's good.
No, I'm saying in the future. Like I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about future. But I'll watch the Aardman short. But yeah. All right, Skeleton Crew, guys, check it out.
It's there.
If you want. Check it out if you want. There. Yeah.
Check it. 10 out of 10. I love it! It's amazing!
Hey,
just like, I don't know, fucking Obi-Wan. Now, who knows? The 2-hour cut.
This is still better than... That's the thing. This is still better creatively. It does more than...
A lot of recent Star Wars shit, period.
Anything...
That's not Andor.
I will say, it does more creatively, again, than the new trilogy. Because the new trilogy leaned on so much old shit.
Shut your mouth!
Anyway, guys, appreciate you for watching. Log him out, Mark.
New trilogy sucks. Alright, log him out, everybody.